Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Club Rats. My name is John.
Billy.
Fernando.
Tonight, we wanted to go over, obviously, the brackets that just came out with the NCAA Tournament, men's college basketball tournament. We want to talk about the overall committee, how they chose their teams, kind of what data, everything they looked at and put into their decision making process. Then we want to go through each game of the first round, give our picks, who we think, and then at the end of it, we'll give out our entire bracket. And then obviously, whatever happens in between will just be what happens. So let's start off with the committee. There's some very kind of questionable decisions the committee made. Obviously, for one, North Carolina getting in the tournament as an 11 seed. They're in the playing game. They play San Diego State. There's a little bit of controversy there. You know, they went 1-12 in their quad one wins. They lost to Duke 3 times. They lost to Duke with Cooper Flagg getting hurt, and they still lost. Although when I watch them play, I can't make an argument for them to make the tournament, but they're obviously at the top with the controversy. Also, Michigan looked like they were misseeded, possibly a little too low. Maybe Wisconsin getting too high of a seed. Gonzaga, Georgia. It kind of a common theme here. Both Gonzaga and Michigan won their conference tournaments, but it's almost like the committee already they turned the answers into the test, and there was no
final product.
They didn't look at the last couple games, because the seeding didn't show that. That's the only thing I can say. The SEC got 14 teams, which I believe is a record. That's almost 22% of all the teams in the whole entire tournament. That's 1/5 over. So that's pretty wild. Fern, what did you think of the seeding? Any controversial picks? Do you think somebody should have made it? Somebody that shouldn't have? What do you think, Fern?
Right. As far as the last 4 in, I really don't have a lot of issues. I know a lot of people were upset that North Carolina and West Virginia got screwed over. Some people say Indiana and Ohio State, which I think they kind of lost their way out of there. I don't really have an argument for them. Iowa pretty much, they weren't going to make it, and they beat both teams there at the end. So maybe
they kind of knocked out.
Yeah, they knocked them out, Ohio State and Indiana, which I don't think either team is that good.
And Nebraska.
Yeah, and Nebraska.
Yeah. One of those, 2 months ago, I would have said one of those teams would have made it for sure, 100%. And not one of them made it. That is a little shocking.
Exactly. I thought so too. Boise State, I thought maybe had a shot to make it, but then they lost in their Mountain West tournament. So I really have no issue with North Carolina as much as people say that there's controversy there. I see it, but I think they're hot right now. I mean, they almost beat Duke again. If it wasn't for that lane violation, they could have beat them in overtime,
They're one of those teams, everybody's going to bag on them, but you don't want to see them.
No. I think they could actually go on a little bit of a run here, honestly. I mean, they still got to beat San Diego State.
They're not
to
a big
secure
team,
their
though.
spot.
It is one of the smallest North Carolina teams I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They don't have a true 7-footer, which I just don't understand how that's possible at North Carolina. But
I agree. As far as the seating goes, I do agree with you. I feel like they kind of had it already settled in 2 days, maybe 3 days prior of the last day. It seemed like to me. I thought Michigan should have been seated higher.
Should those conferences just move up? But it doesn't matter. Gonzaga was a week done. Yeah. They had to see that.
Exactly.
And they still didn't care.
Exactly. All the projections I saw, I mean, granted, they're just projections, had them at 6 or 7, and then on the official, they're 8. And then they win their conference. They've been hot out here at the end. I do think they should have got at least a 6 or 7, but, I mean, it is what it is. I think Kentucky's overseeded. I don't see how they're a 3 seed.
They got a 3 seed.
Yeah, that's it. But besides that, I mean, honestly, I do think the bracket is, I mean, it's tough. It's a tough bracket. It's hard to pick underdogs. It's hard to pick some favorites. I think you don't know who's coming out of what. So I think it was, overall, put together pretty well. I would say I think the West is the toughest. But, yeah, what do you think, Billy?
The West is a gauntlet. I think 2, arguably, of the best teams are in the West of the whole freaking tournament. But the other thing I want to go back to with North Carolina is, I mean, they kind of remind me of Notre Dame in college football, where it's just if they have a pulse, they're getting in the tournament. You're just going to put them in the playoff.
Yeah.
No matter what. And honestly, They've been peaking at the right time. I can't really object to them being in it. And the most thing I could say about
they've, not to cut you off, but they've won 8 of their last 10 games too.
They're hot right now.
I do think it matters if you're playing better now. I think that is more important than losing a game in November or December. I mean, come on.
No, we know that they have huge recency bias, especially they're just looking for a reason to get a team like North Carolina in. So if you can win 8 out of 10 games, you're going to get in. And you should.
North Carolina was competitive against Duke. And I don't know about the first game in Duke. I think they got handled pretty well. But the last 2 were games.
It was competitive.
Yeah.
And what is it? The chairman of the bracket, he's like the main guy at UNC.
That's the part that looks bad. The commissioner of this of the picking committee for the NCAA. He's the athletic director at North Carolina. It doesn't look great. West Virginia is going crazy right now. As a person that's lived in West Virginia, I get it. Mountaineer basketball, it's a big deal for them to kind of lose out like this is unfortunate for them. They did win, I think,
7 power wins.
So 7 quad 1 wins.
Yeah.
And even Ohio State and Indiana, I think, had 6 each.
Yeah,
whereas North Carolina has 1. That is, it is. They look competitive, but they don't win.
Exactly.
So whatever that counts for. Although I think it should be put on winning.
I agree.
I think
winning matters.
If you beat somebody head to head or win at all, I think that.
I also think Arkansas is way over ranked. What do they have them at 10? 10 seed?
Yeah.
I don't know how they got that, but even Vanderbilt, I thought they would barely sneak in. They're a 10 as well. But yeah, I mean, granted, as we see, the SEC's been a juggernaut, so they've been the best conference. If there's a conference that deserves it, I guess it's them. So.
And while, like I said, everybody is complaining about the seedings or like, oh, somebody's too high or somebody's too low. I mean, it's really, that's what you want, though. You want something people to talk about. You want the controversy. You want people to feel slighted. I mean, look at this. We've been talking about it all week before we even started putting the cameras on. Like, oh, this team should be a this seed. This team should be a that seed. I think that's actually a great thing for college sports because, like I said, it's all going to even out in the end anyway. These teams are going to have to play each other. They're going to have to step up. But, I mean, honestly, if you can't really find a fault, you could say the West is probably the toughest. The South, like the whole left side of the bracket looks just tougher than the other side. But you can make a case like Houston, number 1 team all year. You have Duke. Cooper Flagg will be back. Like the other side of the bracket is pretty beastie.
Right.
Yeah, this is I got upset when I saw Michigan flash as a 5, but when I look at the actual matchups, UC San Diego is a great team. I think they're 30-3 or 30-4 this year. So anytime you win 30 games in a college basketball season, you have to. That's hard to do. But their tallest player is 6'8", and Michigan's they've been pretty predictable this year. When they play it against a team that's smaller, they usually have their way with them. So I can't complain with that so much. And also A&M they're not the biggest team either. They're athletic. They're obviously, a step up in physical ability compared to UC San Diego, but they're not a team that's unbeatable. They've lost games. I mean, you can win that game. I can't if that's who we got to play to make the Sweet 16. And then of all the 1 seeds, if we're fortunate to make it there, Auburn. They've shown you they're beatable these last couple of games. I mean, of all the 1 seeds, I'd probably if I had to play any of the 1 seeds, I would rather play Auburn.
That was going to be my point to kind of talk Michigan fans off the ledge here because I'm like, I don't want to play Florida. I don't want to play Houston. I definitely don't want to play Duke. Auburn, weird things can happen. We get kind of weird with it.
Yeah.
I agree. They've lost 3 of their last 4? Or something
3 of the last 4, yeah. Now, granted, who are they playing?
Yeah, they're playing.
It's like Bama, Tennessee, Florida.
Exactly.
Or if they play a team that's lesser in the SEC, it's at Missouri or at Texas A&M where you can lose.
Exactly.
You can lose at Arkansas.
And I mean, theoretically, those games didn't matter. They got the number 1 overall seed pretty much locked in.
Auburn does have the most quad 1 wins. They have 16.
Yeah, and they have an old team too. They have veterans. So.
The committee, in my opinion, they were very heavy on regular season play and non-conference play. So very early on, which I don't love that. I mean, I think you should respect the first round. I mean, the first part of the season because it is
part of the season.
Like if North Carolina and Michigan State they played, Michigan State beat them in overtime by 2. Michigan State's a 2 seed. North Carolina's 11 seed.
Yeah.
I mean,
If they replayed each other, I wouldn't be shocked if Carolina beat Michigan State.
I mean, you could tell me they made this bracket at fucking Christmas, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Because it really is just heavily the first half of the season.
Yeah, it's very heavy. Because even like St. John's, I can't believe I'm saying this. I could argue they're a 1 seed.
Yeah, I mean,
They got no. I'm not saying they should have been a 1 seed, but it's like they're not in the 1 at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they won 20. They went 27-4. The 4 games they lost by were, I think, 7 points or less, all added together combined.
Right.
If St. John's, you don't want to see them. Even Florida. And I'm just gonna preview that. That's my Sweet 16 in the West is Florida versus St. John's. I don't know if you all agree.
It's mine.
I have Texas Tech, Florida, but I do have.
You have Tech beating St. John's. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a war, but I just think Tech will beat them.
But it's going to be it's going to be 2 of those 3.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's not going to be a shock at all if it's Florida St. John's. And we don't.
No.
I think right now we would say Florida, but by the time that game happens,
you never know.
It could be St. John's, little St. Johnny's.
And you could argue the winner of that game is going to win it all anyway.
Exactly.
You could.
Because that West, whoever comes out of that West, I think you have to make them the favorite.
Exactly. And Florida might have a tough path there, but if they're in the semis and they see a North Carolina, a Michigan State, are they even in Auburn? They can beat those teams.
Yeah, they blew out Auburn on the road.
I mean, there's no fear there from Florida's standpoint. No. I feel like Florida's coming into the tournament
hot
as the best team at this exact moment.
Yeah,
in my opinion, and I would put St. John's too.
I don't disagree. I would. I said it on the podcast about a month and a half ago. I think Florida's the best team. I'm sticking with it. I have them making a good run, and then I think I like St. John's. I think they're hot. I would probably put Duke as the second best team, but I think St. John's is definitely a top 5 team for sure. And it wouldn't surprise me if they make a run and make the Final Four. I like their coach. They have a good team. They has them playing well. I like St. John's. I know you're pretty big on St. John's, right, Billy?
Oh, yeah. I got them. I mean, spoiler alert. I have them winning the whole thing. I think between them and Florida, whoever wins that game is going to win it all. And then I actually think St. John's is going to win that game. I just think they've been there before. The experienced coach, well, Pitino's been there before, I should say. And his experience is just priceless in a situation like this.
And shout out to Rick Pitino.
Yeah.
He's not the best human that I've ever seen, but he might be the greatest basketball coach we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's debatable.
I don't think he is.
But
he's in the conversation. You can't say it's a ridiculous argument. He's taken 6 teams to the NCAA tournament, and he's won 6 conference titles.
Yeah.
No one's ever done that before.
No,
so
he's one of the GOATs.
He's one of those guys, if he just stuck around at a program, I think he could have eclipsed like a Coach K or a Bob Knight.
Yeah.
Some of it is because of his own background. He's had a lot of issues with NCAA violations and just problems. Personal life, yeah. So that's been a factor for sure. But if he can coach.
He can.
I honestly think it's more impressive to have to go to a place and start over and rebuild it from scratch over and over.
I don't disagree with you. St. John's, I mean, that was a program 3 years ago. They were like a dead zone for coaches. Like they brought back Rick Mullen, who's the greatest St. John's player of all time. Louis Carnesecca just died. St. John's was like...
They haven't been relevant for 40 years.
Yeah. Now they got Spike at Madison Square Garden. He's got a red coat on. He's hugging him. I mean, like when they're playing at the Garden, you don't think they're going to lose.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know where the national championship game is in Texas. If this was in Madison Square Garden, they would win that tournament.
Big shot, yeah.
But it's not. So anyway, St. John's is definitely a team to look out for. They're a fun, exciting team. They wear you down. They have shades of the UConns that we just saw and Villanova.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where they come out in the first half, maybe they're only up like 4.
Yeah, even down 4.
But then that second half, they just have like 8 possessions in a row where they stop you, and they either score or get a great look at the basket, and you're going to win games. Exactly. You're not going to lose.
Well, if they're backcourt, they just wear you down.
They wear you down.
Over and over. Like over the course of a game, like you're just so exhausted.
Yeah.
Like they just press
and
you.
they full court press you too.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
They're a tough team. I mean, and when he does, when this is only his second year, when he starts rolling in some big time players, not that they don't have big time guys now, but like when it's rolling, I could see him going on a run there.
Well, they got NIL money coming in like out his ass. Like he is getting paid like just this team.
Yeah, no,
he got some.
They can compete with anybody. They're at the same NIL level of like who the top Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky.
Arkansas is probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Duke pays.
Kansas.
North Carolina doesn't pay, by the way. That's one reason why they're struggling right now. They don't pay top.
No, all their money's to the football team for some reason.
There's even but even schools like that you don't think about basketball, like or you do, but like BYU, they're paying.
Yeah, they just got the number
Gonzaga
one prospect.
is paying guys. Even a school like Michigan is paying guys. Mm-hmm. That's a football school. You're seeing it. Some of these teams are kind of. Michigan went from winning 8 games to 24. You don't just do that. They went and got
coaching.
They got a coach he made a Final Four. So it's not by accident that they won the Big Ten tournament and they're in the NCAA tournament and you don't want to see them.
They were one shot away from making the title game at FAU.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, all right. So now that's kind of what we thought of the the outrage of the tournament. When you first see it, I would say North Carolina looks. You're upset by it, but when you compare them to those other teams,
they're hot right now.
They're in the North Carolina. They're going to get if you don't know that about college football, that's all what it is.
They get the draw. Yeah,
the teams that draw are going to get they're going to get the seed. Now we're going to go through our first round games, round of 64. I'm going to start off the South bracket. I like obviously the first game Auburn. I'm going to go with Auburn.
Anybody have any objections to that?
There's only been one seed ever lose in the history of the tournament. It was Virginia to UMBC, the Golden Retrievers, I think they were, right? Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah, and they shot like amazing. They looked like they were just a better team that day. I don't see that happening with Auburn. They're going to win that game. Obviously, you guys agree on we don't have to.
Yeah, we don't have to go crazy.
The next game is a great game.
We're going to argue about this, I think.
I actually think both teams are and we'll get back kind of what we were talking about in the first part, the misseeding. I think Louisville and Creighton are kind of low here as 8-9s.
I think
they are not. If you're Auburn, you're the number 1 overall team. Here's Creighton, who just, if they're hot, they can literally beat anybody.
Yeah.
They beat UConn last year when UConn won the national championship.
Yeah.
So you don't want to see Creighton anytime. They're beatable, but they can get hot. It's a scary team. Louisville, I'm going on about Michigan. They were awful last year. I think they won 5 or less games. They're at 27, and they competed. They finished third in the ACC, third in the regular season, and second in the tournament. So for Auburn to get that matchup, that's a tough game there. Like there's no easy game.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to play somebody.
Who are you gonna root for there? You don't want to see
my pick in that game, and I'll bet them. I'm going to take the points with Creighton, 2.5. I'm going to take plus 2.5 in that game, and actually, I think Creighton's going to win. That's my pick in the bracket. What do you think, Fern?
I'm going to go with Creighton as well. I just think they're more experienced. They have I like their players a lot. I think they play well. A good coach. They've been there. They usually make a decent run. And I'm going to go with Creighton money line. I'll take the plus money on here, and I think they'll end up beating Louisville. I think the ACC's kind of been a little weak, so I'm a rock with Creighton.
I'm going to stick with my pick originally, Louisville. But I do acknowledge that if the white boys at Creighton get hot, it's over. Like, it really is just a make-miss game. If they're making it, like, if they're making threes, and I know they don't have their best shooter from last year. They don't have Baylor Shireman anymore. Really glad he's on the Celtics. But he's a good kid.
Yeah.
Got a porn mustache, though. He should shave that. Looks odd. But even without him, they still got enough shooters to really make this a game. I just think Louisville's a better team, but... It's math. You can't play the math game against them. If they're hitting threes, Creighton's scary.
They also have the 4-time defensive player.
I picked Louisville, though.
And you're 100% right, Fernando. He's the last guy to win 4 Big East Defensive Player of the Year awards was Patrick Ewing.
Yeah,
who's probably the great one. I mean, I didn't see Bill Russell or some of these older players. I'm talking about defensively. Patrick Ewing, like when you see anything Georgetown, you could not score against them. They would just lock you up. So the fact that this guy in Creighton has that's amazing.
Yeah. And it's a school we don't associate with defense.
No, you just think of them as a shooting team. Yeah. So by the end we're done with this, we got Creighton winning the national championship here. But you guys are all picking Creighton?
He's on Louisville.
You're picking Louisville. Okay. And I don't disagree. I can't. Yeah. It's truly a toss-up.
It's a coin flip to me.
If Creighton's shooting well, you got to take them. If it's not a shooting well game, I go Louisville.
And it's 2.5, right? Yeah, I mean it's pretty much a pick 'em game.
Exactly.
At that point.
The next game here, so we have, what do you know, Michigan versus UC San Diego. I'll give my pick. I'm gonna bet Michigan minus 2.5, and I obviously think they're gonna they're gonna cover. They're gonna win, so that goes without saying. I have them going to the next round. It looks, UC San Diego. They've won 30 games. Very similar to like Drake, had a great season. They are their biggest guy is 6'8". Basically, their whole team is like 6'5" to 6'8". So they're gonna be, they're obviously they've played with each other a lot of games. They could probably shoot the ball well, but I don't see the size how are they gonna stop Michigan down low. And Michigan's played well against small teams. I wouldn't be saying that if they haven't, if they were kind of all over the place. Michigan doesn't. When Michigan plays another team that's more athletic than them or equal, like Maryland, they struggle. They won that game by 1. They lost in Ann Arbor to them by 6. When they play a small team like Ohio State, Wisconsin's not huge for their standard even. Yeah. I feel like we kind of had our way. We out-rebounded Purdue by like 15 rebounds. That's unheard of. Purdue... And they're a big physical team. So unless UC San Diego is just something I've never seen before, I'm gonna lay the 2.5 and take Michigan. What do you think, Bill?
I think it's a bad line. I think that line should be more around 6 or 7. So just take the money.
And to get back on that, Michigan was a 3.5-point dog to Purdue. They won by 18. They were a 4.5 dog to Maryland. Now they won by 1, but it's still a 5.5-point line difference.
Yeah.
When you win by 1 and you're a 4.5-point dog.
Yeah.
And they were a 2.5-point dog to Wisconsin, and they won the game.
Yeah. So if you'll find anybody that'll give you lightning bets with Michigan, take it all day, because not only are they going to cover, I think they're going to cover big. I think we all are going to like Michigan here, Fern.
You know what? This line seems a little tricky to me, and how John mentioned that they're like between 6'2" to 6'8". I think that would actually benefit them offensively. I think they could get out in transition. They're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country. This team's played together for a couple of years. If there's an upset, this is going to be the first one I'm taking. I'm going to go with UC San Diego. I mean, they've got, like you said, 30-plus wins. I think the size can be an issue. However, if they get stops and misses, forced turnovers, I don't think they're quick enough to stop UC San Diego in transition. Like I said, threes are worth more than twos. I don't think Michigan's a great three-point shooting team. So I'm just going to go with the UC San Diego here. The line is just so sketch to me. I'm taking the money line.
Rat line.
I mean, I can't. It is a 2.5 line, so 2.5 anybody can win. It's not. It's not an upset. It's not an upset at all.
They could all shoot on the team, so it's like 1 through 5. They'll stretch you out.
No, and that's all these games. When you bet, when we give out a pick here, these games are so. Like, it's a 40-minute basketball game, and we know this is playing in the league because normally we play 20-minute halves, or at some places 22. Sports Complex plays 24-minute halves.
And you could feel that difference.
That's a 48-minute. That's the same as an NBA game, and if you're the better team, you have to perform the whole game, or you can lose.
Yeah, those 8 minutes, the other team could sneak up on you.
It's such a longer game.
Yeah.
So if a guy gets hot, but he only did it briefly, it might not matter.
That's true.
There's just not enough. There's too much time. Their team comes back and wins. These college games, kid comes out. Wisconsin against Michigan State made over 10 threes.
Yeah.
Tanji had 32 points. They were talking about he's like a lottery pick.
Yeah.
He went 1 for 14 against Michigan, and it was a dunk.
That's true, but they're
he couldn't make a shot.
They're focusing on one guy.
But that's what I'm trying to say.
5 of them.
Any game we give out, though, college, if a guy has his best day, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Michigan lost to Illinois by 20. Illinois lost to Duke by 50.
Yeah.
So, I mean, does Michigan lose to Duke by 70?
No.
Okay.
No, you can have the right side wrong result on any of these games.
Okay, so let's go to the next game on the list here. We got A&M and Yale. That's actually
a pretty good game.
Pretty good game. There's a lot of hatred toward Michigan in this bracket here. There's just a lot of hatred there. Danny Wolf played at Yale. They want to see Wolf play his old team.
That would actually be a good game.
I know. See that, and the fans want to see that. They want to see that game. Also, Auburn lost to Yale last year.
That's true.
So I'm telling you, this is like there's some heat in this bracket. Yeah. So A&M Yale. I'm gonna go with A&M. I just think the SEC is at a different level. I've watched Yale play, though. They're not bad. I would kind of put this game in the UC San Diego Michigan game. I'm going to pick A&M, but if Yale won, I'm not going to say I'm shocked. I mean, they can. I think they can win this game. I will take A&M. The line on that game is
7.5.
7.5. I'm gonna lay the 7.5.
I don't love the 7.5, but I do like A&M for the game.
Okay.
Yeah, so I played a little safer there just because Yale's scrappy for an Ivy League
They are.
school team.
They're good. They're good. Their coach is. I think they made the tournament 3
He's
years
legit,
in a row.
dude. Yeah.
They're there. And they beat Auburn last year, so
Yeah.
you can beat anybody.
Who do you like?
I hate A&M, actually. I don't like their team at all. I think they're very overrated.
What's their best win of the year?
I can't even think of it off the top
Did they
of
beat
my
Auburn,
head.
Alabama, or Tennessee?
I don't know. If I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I know they're on a losing streak. They've lost, I think, 6 of their last 8 or something like that. I love Yale plus 7.5. I'm going to lay that, but I do think A&M will win a close game. It wouldn't shock me if Yale won, though. It wouldn't. I think Yale can win this game, but for the sake of the bracket, I think A&M sneaks out maybe a 2 or to 4 point win.
What do you think, Bill?
Oh, I have A&M, but I don't like laying the points. I would. I think it
Just
should be
take them.
closer. Yeah.
Okay. Next game, we have Ole Miss. Ole Miss will play the winner of San Diego State or North Carolina. What do you like, Fern?
I got North Carolina beating San Diego State. I actually took them. They're 5-point favorites over them. Now, this game's tough. Ole Miss, at first glance, I liked Ole Miss. I mean, I think Ole Miss has a good offense. They play hard. They play fast. But I just think right now, with all the controversy, people hating on UNC getting in, there's always kind of seems to happen every year. So there's a team everyone hates, and they make
They're
a
the
run.
talked about team.
I'm going to be taking UNC. I think UNC is going to crack them. It's going to be a high-scoring game, but I think UNC wins maybe like a 1 or 2 possession game on that. Billy?
I'm the complete opposite. I just can never bet against San Diego State, especially in these early rounds. So I like them, but then I like Ole Miss to just knock them right back out. So I'm going to take Ole Miss.
I could see that as well.
At first I agree with you on San Diego State. You don't ever want to see them. I don't think this is a vintage San Diego State team.
This ain't a Steve Fisher team.
But they're not going to give you the game. Carolina's going to have to beat them. I am going to pick Carolina in that matchup. And I have Carolina. I'm going to take them against Ole Miss.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Right them.
That's
kind
of my pick. Yeah, that's what I have. Next game here. We have Iowa State versus Lipscomb.
Yep.
I think the line is 14.5. Iowa State's 14.5. I'm gonna, for whatever reason, I always get up on. I'm always on Iowa State.
Yeah.
In the tournament.
Same.
I
I
bet
always
big.
love the Hawkeyes.
I'm gonna bet Iowa State. I'm gonna lay the points. I just think they're gonna win the game.
Yeah, I don't think
It's not
Lipscomb
really that-
has a lot. I mean, they did well in their tournament or whatever. I can't remember what conference they're in off the top of my head. I do think Iowa State is missing someone, although I don't think that'll matter. I think they should cover this. I think they're going to get an easy win in the first round. Although it wouldn't shock me if Lipscomb keeps it close and Iowa State pulls away late, but I'm going to go with the Cyclones.
Yeah, Cyclones all the way.
It is 14.5.
It is 14.5. I still think that's an easy one. Even with the injury issue, they've done this before. They've been here before. They're well coached.
Yep.
And, yeah, that's an easy one for me.
All right, next game. This is actually a great matchup. Marquette versus New Mexico. You have Shaka Smart, who's made a Final Four with VCU. You have Richard Pitino, son of Rick Pitino. He's made the tournament, I believe, a couple times at New Mexico. Hasn't had a ton of success, but they have a nice win this year against UCLA. They beat them in the non-conference. I'm picking New Mexico in that game.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I'm taking New Mexico. I could be wrong, but I just think I don't know. Shaka Smart just doesn't do it for me anymore. He's kind of the James Franklin of the college basketball world.
I could see that. Yeah, he always seems to underperform.
He has made a Final Four. I guess Franklin made one this year. They gave him enough rounds. You eventually make one, but that's my pick. What do
My
you think?
pushback is I think this is the best team Shaka's had in a long time.
Yeah.
So I will take them over New Mexico, but his criticisms are fair. He is kind of like God, who's just like a middle of the road kind of coach that's like...
He's had opportunities. He coached Texas.
Yeah.
He got fired there. I think Marquette's a better fit for him.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's better. Marquette is a basketball school. Texas, it's always going to be football regardless.
But don't you think this is one of the better teams he's had in a long time?
I thought early, and then I feel like they're fading. They're doing what he does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They fade. But again, I'm not going to argue with on that game, Bill. To me, it's a
shit show.
It's a toss-up. Like, you can't sit here and say, you're dead wrong, you're dead right. But I will. I'm picking an upset. I'm going to New Mexico.
I think Cam Jones is one of the best players in this whole South bracket, and he happens to be in Marquette, obviously. So I think Marquette is going to ball out. What's the line on this, John?
I'm getting it right now.
I think Marquette is going to make a
3.5. Marquette's
3.5. A pretty good run this year. I think they started off well. They kind of been like petering out a little bit. But at the end of the day, I still think they're going to pull together, come together, and Cam Jones is going to ball out. I'm going to go with Marquette, and I'll take the 3.5 all day.
Yeah, that seems like a great line.
I agree. It seems like free money to me. I mean, the Mountain West hasn't been great. Besides that San Diego State run a couple years ago, they haven't really been that great in the tournament. So I'm going to stick with Ket. I also think the Big East, there's a lot of good teams in there, and Ket has been playing some tough competition. So,
all right, the next game here, we got Michigan State versus Bryant. Michigan State's laying, I believe it's 18.5. I mean, I'm obviously going to pick Michigan State to win that game.
Yeah,
I might put something on Bryant to cover.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of points.
Izzo, he hasn't had a lot of success in the tournament. His last time I think he made the Final Four was 2019, which was 6 years ago, but he's looked bad.
Yeah.
In the tournament. This team did win the regular season, Big Ten regular season championship. So, Michigan State's a great team. They're deep. They're going to be the most athletic team Bryant's ever seen. So I don't see Bryant winning this ball game.
No.
But I might look at that. I might look at it. I'm taking Michigan State. What do you think, Fern?
Same. Michigan State, I don't think they cover, though. I think Bryant will keep it with maybe 15.
Yeah.
That I think Michigan State's an easy money line winner for sure.
I would get spicy. I would do like a Bryant first half, take some points, and just kind of let it be a dogfight. But yeah, by the end of it, Michigan State might even cover that 18
They could wear them down.
Yeah,
they could. You see that in games where the other team is just so physically opposing.
They just wear them down.
It obviously not to get back on it again, but the 3-point shooting. Now, if Bryant comes out and hits 5 to 8 threes in the first half, they have a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
At that point,
we saw it with Oakland.
3-point shooting is massive in college, and you can't predict it. It's so the NBA. It's more predictable. The good teams shoot well. The bad teams don't. For the most part,
anything could happen.
College, a guy who never plays comes in the game and makes 4 threes. That happened with Michigan in the Big Ten championship game. Kaysen came off the bench and hit 2 NBA threes when we were down 11 and 8. He made it a game, so it still gave us a chance to win the game. So it's
Grayson Allen with Duke came in after halftime one year and won the national championship. Yeah.
What's the next game here? We got
all right, Billy. We got the West Side coming up.
I'll do the West Coast for you guys. Perfect. I got the West Side. Our first game is not much of a game. It's going to be Florida playing against Norfolk State.
Unless Michael Vick's playing for Norfolk State. He's the coach of the football team. I don't see them winning that game.
They should let him play.
Yeah, they should.
Do you have a line for that? Because I get
28.5.
I knew it would be massive, and honestly, they can't make that line high enough. You can make that 40, and I'd still take it.
I'm taking Florida, right?
Yeah, that's it. I would take a hammer in Florida.
One side note to get back on Norfolk State, and Michael Vick. I saw an Eagles fan put a Michael Vick Eagles jersey, on his dog watching the game.
That's pretty funny, actually.
That's kind of sick.
Yeah.
That's an Eagles fan, though. That's how crazy they are.
The Philadelphia fan base is kind of like...
They'll just eat their own if they have to.
They're like the special needs brother of a Boston or New York fan. So, yeah, they're definitely out there.
Because they don't have the winning. But
no.
The meanness...
But they have the anger.
And the hatred. They're unrivaled in that.
No, they're a
Philly
very
has
better...
a winning. You don't think so? They got the Eagles, Villanova.
But they don't act that way, though.
They don't act like they've been there.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, they're the ones who boo Santa Claus.
They boo Santa Claus.
When certain teams... when the Celtics win, the city doesn't go crazy. They kind of expect it in a way.
Yeah, that's true.
When Michigan won the national championship, they didn't burn the world down.
Yeah,
everyone was
true.
happy,
When
but
Philly
there was a little
won,
bit of
it was
class
just
there.
Chaos.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, Bill.
No, we're good. That's actually more interesting than the next game, I think, as well. UConn, Oklahoma. I got UConn, but I really think this is a weak UConn team. I love that this coach is getting exposed after being kind of a fraud.
Who are you talking about, by the way?
UConn's coach.
Hurley?
Dan Hurley?
You don't like Hurley?
I think he's a fraud.
Okay.
Fraudulent. Put it down. Mark it.
I like Hurley. I do think he's had some great teams, obviously. UConn's a strong basketball school. I personally think Oklahoma sucks. I don't think they belong as a 9 seed. I'm going to go with UConn.
They're one of the SEC teams that it's like,
yeah.
Could we have had West Virginia in over Oklahoma?
Yeah, and they're a 9 seed. So, like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm going to go with UConn. They're proven, obviously, back-to-back champions. They're going to be tough to knock out. I'm sure Dan Hurley's getting those guys ready. If Oklahoma shoots well, back to what you said, I could see them winning, but I just think UConn.
They're a finesse shooting team. Their
Yeah.
coach is the guy from Loyola Chicago when they made the Final Four.
I like him. He's a good coach.
Yeah, I mean, no, he got him in the tournament, so they're not.
So
awful,
I'm going
right?
to stick with UConn, like you said. What's the line on that, by the way?
I'm taking UConn. UConn is -4.5, which seems low to me.
You think it should be higher?
UConn's
I think that's a fair line.
This isn't as the UConn team.
Yeah.
that's
I
on
know,
the-
but I'm just.
I don't think this UConn team is a good.
I don't know if Oklahoma's ready for that level of intent. It is Big East basketball.
Yeah, that's true. They wear you
They
down.
just lost to St. John's by a point,
Yeah.
I think.
And as much as I hate
So-
Hurley, I do like his assistant, Bill Murray's son.
Yeah,
So he's pretty cool.
he's
so.
a funny guy.
Funny how.
Our next game is, since we all agreed on UConn, take the other side, guys. When we all agree on a game that's close, take the other side.
So we're all taking UConn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, even though you hate Hurley, you're
Yeah.
taking you. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
you
what I'm
can't
saying.
help it. Yeah, it's exactly.
So yeah, take the other side, viewers, because if we all agree, that's something wrong there. Our next game is a really spicy one. I like this game
Great
a lot.
game.
Yeah.
This is a really good.
This is one
tournament
of the best games of this bracket. Memphis and Colorado State. Who do you got, John?
game. I'm gonna go with Memphis.
Okay.
I'm getting points in the game. I'm getting 2.5 points. They're the more athletic team. I know Colorado State had another good year. Penny usually wins a game though in the tournament.
Yeah.
He doesn't go out easy.
Right away, yeah.
I don't know if it was 2 years ago or last year. They played UConn and they were the one team that like gave them a game.
That was recent, I thought. Yeah.
It was last year or 2 years ago. One of the UConn runs. So they're going to have athletes. Penny's competitive. I'm going with Memphis. I like the points. I'm taking the 2, and I think they're going to win too.
I think they're the better team and
Yeah.
they're getting the points. So I got Memphis. What about you, friend? Are we going to agree again?
I think they're the more athletic. They're the more versatile.
Oh, sorry,
team.
hang on 1 second though. Is that game in Denver?
San Francisco.
Okay, so that's
That's
right?
closer for Colorado.
Yeah, no,
State.
isn't
Fort
it?
Collins, right?
You might be right.
this game's Friday or
It's
Thursday?
in Seattle. I'm going to go with Memphis. I think Memphis is I don't know how they're underdogs in this game. I'm for sure taking Memphis, especially they're going to give me points.
And Fern's right. It is Seattle. I can't read.
But
I-
Seattle. No, that's
Yeah.
I mean, that's not huge. That's a long trip for both of them.
There's going
Not
to be.
so
I
much
don't think
for
there's.
Colorado. It's like maybe like
It's-
an hour and a half to.
I bet you it's 2.5 hours.
Colorado will travel better than Memphis.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're
But we all like Memphis. So
Yeah.
what is?
exactly.
Take
Take Colorado State if you're watching.
Yeah, there we go.
That's another.
I mean, they're like highlighted as the biggest team to upset, which I don't know how big of an upset that would be, but
I think everybody loves that like 12-5 upset thing. So
Yeah.
it's like
it's almost overplayed at this point.
exactly. I think it's
It's
bad
just
value.
another game.
And like I said, you're going to get points in this. Just take the points. Our next game, not as spicy. Maryland versus Grand Canyon. I think Maryland wins easy. I think they just have better players. I can't really see anything from Grand Canyon that's going to change
Line
my
is
mind.
10.5. Maryland's favored by 10.5.
That sounds about right. I would say a double-digit favorite. Let's. Anybody's going to disagree on that, or are we going to keep rolling?
I'm going to disagree.
I'm gonna agree with you in part. I
Yeah.
think Maryland wins.
Yeah.
But I actually think Grand Canyon can cover.
I'm the exact same. I have Maryland
That's-
winning this game, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think Grand Canyon gives them a fight.
Grand Canyon's got this guard. He took now it's Utah Valley, but there's just nobody guarding him on the court. Now
Yeah. I don't know who's going to guard the center for Maryland, though.
Maryland Queen is tough too.
Yeah.
He's good, man.
So-
Maryland is athletic. That's actually
a fair line.
You said
dude.
it's not a spicy game. That's a good game, though.
Yeah, I would watch. That's one of the ones I'm looking forward to.
I think Queen's going to bulldoze him. Who's going to guard him?
You're right.
He's too physical.
Well, they usually play a 2-3.
I'm taking Maryland to win. We pretty much agree.
Grand Canyon
you think
plays
it's going to be a blowout.
2-3,
We
though.
don't. That's it.
So, I mean, you break down the zone.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll keep going. I got a new one. Missouri and Drake. Another one I'm not thrilled about. I know there's been a lot of Drake buzz, but I think Missouri does a Kendrick to him and just stomps him out. What do you guys like?
The line on that is 6.5.
Okay.
I'm gonna take Drake to win.
Okay.
And I'm gonna take him to win. So the plus 6.5 is easy.
Yeah, you're like
I'm taking Drake. Points. Now I'm a little biased. That's my third alma mater I went to, so obviously I'm rooting for that. We're going to see this in the initial these games, these SEC teams to get 14. Are they really just that good? Maybe they just blow them out. I'm taking Drake.
You know, I don't really have any ties to this game. This is actually one of the games I'm looking forward to the most out of
could be
at
a
least
war.
This bracket. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Drake to win. I think Drake can beat Missouri. If I'm taking a lock, I'll take the over. Obviously, but I think Drake can sneak out this win. Like you said, we don't know how good the SEC is compared to these other smaller schools.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Drake's another team. They're, what are they, 30 and 3?
30 and 3, yeah.
They've won like 90 games in the last 3 years.
Exactly. I love I think they have a great coach.
I hope UNLV could get their coach, but could go to Iowa or Indiana.
Yeah, he's probably going to get a bigger school.
Yeah, he's going to get a Big Ten team. So
it wouldn't shock me if Drake won. I mean, I have them winning. I could obviously see Missouri winning, like you said. They're the favorite for a reason. But I'm definitely going to go with Drake on the upset on this one.
Okay.
Nice. Next one is another easy one, in my opinion. They can't make this line high enough. It's high enough. Texas Tech versus UNCW. What do you guys think?
I think Texas Tech is going to absolutely annihilate them. I can't see this game being close at all.
Big line, 15.5.
Perfectly said, Billy. They can't make the line high enough. It could be 20.5. I would take
Still
Tech.
keep running it up.
I think Tech is going to roll. I have Tech going pretty far. They've been one of my favorite teams all year. Granted, if they should be healthy, everyone should play. It should be an easy winner.
Nice. All right, we're gonna go to a really fun one. I think Kansas and Arkansas.
Really?
Anybody?
You want to start it?
Oh man, I'm gonna go Rock Chalk Jayhawk, but I don't love it, man. I think this is gonna be a war. I'll take Kansas, but let me get that line because it's got to be close.
Of course. I just don't like Calipari in these tournaments, especially as of recent. I'm going to go with Kansas. I mean, they're tough. I can't remember them ever being bounced out in the first round, at least not that I could remember.
Arkansas's plus 4.5.
Okay.
I would take. I think I'm going to take the 4.5 with Kansas. I think Kansas gets this win. Maybe
You're laying the 4.5
by like 6-7 points.
I'm on the opposite. I like Calipari's. He gets made fun of, but I actually think he's a better coach than Bill Self.
He probably is.
Marginally, but I think he's
probably is.
I think he's slightly. I have seen Coach Calipari. He took UMass. He got him as a 1 seed. I mean, that's
hard to do.
I mean, that was 30 years ago. So.
I know. But what has Bill Self done though?
I mean,
he's won at Kansas.
Yeah.
And he was good at he was at Illinois before, I think. I don't know.
I mean, Marcus Camby's not walking through that door.
No, but he got him to go to UMass.
I agree. And he got Loops to go there.
Yeah, exactly. I like Arkansas. I'm taking the plus 4. I think that game's it's two teams that I don't really like, and they're both kind of like not.
You just want Arkansas to play St. John's.
That'd be
you
great.
want to see the matchup.
Yeah,
that's all you want.
Cool,
that's a great matchup.
Yeah,
yeah, and
that would be fun.
And he's 8-2 against Rick Pitino.
It's gonna be a fucking blood.
Like it's not. I think Pitino's a better coach, but I didn't know he was 8-2 against him.
It's
that's
insane.
impressive.
Neither did I.
That's a damn good record. So I'm going Arkansas, and I will bet that. I will bet the 4.5.
And now we'll go to my favorite team of this bracket is St. John's versus Omaha. And shockingly, I'm going to take St. John's. I'm going to take them big. I'm going to take them every which way. First half, second half, every way you want.
I don't disagree one bit. I think St. John's this is an easy winner. I don't think this game is going to be close. I think, like you said, they're just going to wear them out. That's what they're going to crack them.
I got to go with the devil's advocate and Rick Pitino. He's home. I mean, they pan to him. It says Queens, New York, and Rick Pitino heads pop up. It's like John Gotti came out of the grave and he's back coaching St. John's. It's a perfect fit. You got to go with St. John's. It's easy.
I love it. You want to take over the East?
Yeah, we'll jump over to the East side, which is most people's pick. I would say one of the most popular teams. We'll start out. I'm not sure there's really much of a...
we all agree Duke.
It's
Yeah,
Duke
we don't
versus,
care who they play.
Yeah, either American or Mount St. Mary's. I don't think it's going to be close. I think Mount St. Mary's will win that game against American plus money if anyone wants to take it, but I think Duke is going to easily roll. Let's jump into the next matchup. I think this matchup is a little bit slept on. I think this is another good game in 8-9. Mississippi State versus Baylor.
Who do you like? Who do you like, Bill?
I like Mississippi State, but man, you could flip a coin on this freaking game. Do we have a good line for it?
Yeah, it's 1.5. Mississippi State's 1.5.
Like, it literally is a coin
So
flip.
it's basically a pick. I'm with you though, Bill. I'm on Mississippi State.
I agree. I'm sticking with SEC and Mississippi State. I just think they've played better teams.
Baylor, I'll never get it out of my head. They went up to Spokane and played Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Not that losing in Gonzaga is a bad loss, but
They
lost by
annihilated
50?
them.
The way they
by
lost.
50,
I mean, it
and
was a massacre.
it wasn't even a game.
Yeah, so
All right, guys, we'll jump into the next one, and I think this game's a little bit slept on, honestly. Oregon and Liberty. Now, Liberty can score. Oregon has obviously been proven. What do you like, Billy?
I love the Ducks. I think the Ducks win easy. I don't
7.5.
Yeah, I think that line could even be up to 9 or 10.
I'm with you guys. I'm taking Oregon and I'm laying the 7.5. That'll be a bet for sure.
I'm with Oregon as well. I
like
Biddle
Biddle.
over on the points. I don't know.
Biddle's
I
he's
can't
a
remember
weird guy to watch because he looks kind of like a nerdy guy, but he'll bang threes on you,
Yeah.
rebounds.
Yeah, he is.
He's a good player, and their coach is great too. I think he's a great tournament coach. I think if he had like a better job, not that Oregon's a bad job, but if you put him at like a real basketball school, like he's a guy. Why doesn't Indiana talk to him?
Exactly.
Give him $8 million a year or whatever to take the
Yeah,
job.
I agree. All right, guys. Next game I think is going to be really high scoring. Arizona and Akron. Both teams average over 80 points a game. I think this has the potential to be a shootout. Who do you like?
I don't have it as close as you do, Fern. I think Arizona wins. I just think they have the better players. John, do you disagree?
I'm taking Akron.
Really?
Yeah. This is kind of like
that's your biggest upset so
that's
far.
like my shocker of the tournament so far would be Akron. Arizona's, I mean, they're the better team in terms of talent. Love is a proven college player. He's not really an NBA prospect, but in terms of playing college basketball, he made a national championship at North Carolina. He's been in college basketball for a long time. He's kind of like a Hunter Dickinson type.
Yeah.
You don't love him, but he can win you a game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a veteran. I just think Arizona comes up short, as they have, feels like every year the last 5 years. And they've had better Arizona teams in this and lost to worse teams. So I saw the center who was drafted by the Suns. What's his name? He was first pick overall.
Oh, Aiden?
Aiden.
Oh, he stinks.
He lost to Buffalo.
That was
and they didn't
bad.
just lose to Buffalo. They lost by like 30.
Well, we saw the UNLV
Princeton.
kid beat up on him.
Yeah.
Remember the UNLV bus center that
Zimmerman?
No, even before him, he played against Aiden, and he ate
Yes.
his lunch.
I can't think of it. He didn't
oh
make...
my, yeah, he
He like
make
left
them
early,
Yeah,
but he was a pro player. He was like a
he
5-star recruit.
He should have been a pro.
Yeah, he gave it to him. I don't know. Arizona, to me, they always come up short.
Yeah. I think the exact same. I had them kind of getting bounced out early in the Big 12 tournament, but I do notice little bit of a change. I think they've turned it up a little bit. I'm going to stick with Arizona to win.
They are
this
playing
game.
better now.
They are.
I will say that.
All right, guys. So Zona, Akron. Do you know what the line is on that, John?
Which one?
The Zona and Akron game?
Akron is plus 13.5.
It's a lot of points.
So I'm going with
I
big
might
dog.
take Akron with the points.
I'm
on
taking
that.
those points, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. I do like the over. I think it's
What's
at like
the?
160.
I got to find the plus on the money line on that because that's a sizable bet right there.
That is with the money
Yeah.
line, 100%. Next up, we got VCU and BYU. Now, I think this is a great matchup. John, do you want to kick this off for us?
I'm on BYU. They're one of the teams that to me is kind of like changing their outlook in the whole landscape of the sport, and that they're going to spend money. BYU's always been a decent basketball school. Now that they're going to spend cash, it wouldn't shock me if they became one of the better teams, I guess, in the Mountain West region, West Coast, in the next 5 to 10 years.
I think even more than that. I think they're going to actually join a real conference because they're spending money, and these Mormons, man, they love basketball.
Yeah.
They're getting like real NBA prospects now. And this is just the start. I think a nice tournament run for them will do them a lot of good. And I think it all starts here against VCU.
And they're 3.5.
Yeah.
3.5.
So I'm laying that.
Yeah.
That's a bet. I'm making that bet.
I'm going to hop on the Rams. I think VCU is going to upset BYU. I hear a lot of the things you guys are saying, and I kind of bought into it. But watching the Big 12 tournament kind of turned me off from them a little bit. I think that VCU, they're one of the older teams in this whole bracket, so they've been in this before. They know what it takes. VCU usually makes a tournament every year. They have experience. I think they have the athleticism to win. I'm going to go with VCU.
Okay.
Now, the next matchup is Wisconsin and Montana. I believe Wisconsin is a 17-point favorite, at least when I checked Caesars this morning. I think Wisconsin will win this game, but if I'm a betting man, which I am, I'll take in Montana 100%. What do you guys think?
I'm in the same boat. I looked it up there. It's 16.5. I'm going to take Montana. Wisconsin, if they're not shooting the ball well, they could lose this game. Or even be very scared. Like you look at it like, wow, we were lucky to win that one. Or it was closer than it should be. I do think they will win, but I'm gonna take Montana plus 16.5, or I hope it's 17. That'd be great.
Yeah, I would take Wisconsin to win the game, but take the points now because every hour you wait, that line's gonna keep going down because it's just they just made a bad line.
It's too like when does Wisconsin beat anybody by 20 points?
They don't
rare.
play like that.
They don't.
So
yeah, if you guys like winning
and that's
money,
that's some of the book too. The book here, yes, they put lines out for every game. I'm not saying we're smart in the book, but if you don't really watch Wisconsin play, they were in a game against Michigan. It was 25-23 at halftime.
Yeah.
Like they can have those moments where they just don't score.
They do chuck up a lot of threes,
They
though,
do.
and if they're hitting, then they'll kill them.
It's the opposite end.
Yeah, but so they take more threes, I think, almost as much as anyone else in the country, but I don't know. That's a lot of points. I think Montana's not a bad. I think they're a decent team. Let's hop into the next one, which is a 7-10 matchup, which I'm sure will be pretty split. St. Mary's and Vanderbilt. Who do you guys got?
I got Vandy. I think I might be the only one on these couches with Vandy.
No, I'm with you too, Bill. I got Vandy.
okay.
And the line's 3.5. That's it. Kind of reminds me of the Memphis line a little bit. I think I'm getting the better team with points. So even if I'm wrong and they lose, I could still win by a hook. Last second three goes in. I like Vandy.
I agree with all of you. I'm on Vandy as
Oh,
well.
Yeah.
wow.
Take
St.
St.
Mary's
Mary's.
not a great
There we go.
tournament
We have
team.
3
No,
games.
and they don't.
They
when
make it. They make it
Yeah.
every year, but they never win. I think.
I will say this to argue for St. Mary's side on this game. I don't think Vanderbilt's a horribly athletic team.
True.
And St. Mary's struggles with those type of teams.
Yeah,
Like if St. Mary's was playing like Georgia,
they'd
or
be in trouble.
or they might be in trouble. Or even A&M, who's athletic.
Yeah,
Like, a lesser... Even Arkansas has got some athletes.
yeah.
Vandy's not the most athletic team. They're a shooting team, but they're still... I think Vandy's just a tough out.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I'm going Vandy.
All right, guys, and last game coming out of the East, Alabama and Robert Morris. Robert Morris does score a lot, so does Alabama. I don't think this is going to be close. I think Bama will take Robert Morris down handily.
Yeah, make the line whatever you want.
It's
Take
22.5.
Bama, go home.
And I'm same thing. Oates, he loves style points. He's kind of the Ryan Day to me of college basketball. He'll win a game against a team that's awful by 30, and then he'll lose the biggest game of the year.
Yeah, I agree.
But Bama's got players. They're good. I think they cover.
I think so too.
All right, the last bracket here, we got the Midwest. I'll go over this one. To just start it off, it's Houston. Houston has won like 120 games in the last 4 years. It's crazy.
It's insane.
They should have a national championship by now.
Yeah.
They do pucker up the further they get into the tournament. I feel like when they get into the Final Four, they play very tight.
I think so too.
I don't know if that's Sampson and just his way as he coaches. You can't argue with him being a regular season coach, and even he's good. He's got a winning record in the tournament too, I believe, because they win games. They lost last year to Duke, I believe. Their point guard got hurt in the game. They were winning the game until he got hurt. Once he got hurt,
they lost.
they never could go on. I think Houston's a tough, one of the best teams in the whole entire tournament. I got them winning big.
Yeah, they're terrifying to me, so just pencil them in. You can pencil them the next couple rounds too, because they got a nice draw.
Yeah, Edwardsville has one good player. He's a big athlete. I do like how he plays, but just Houston's just a lockdown. I think they're the best, probably defensive team in the tournament. I'm going to take Houston.
28.5, that line is.
I wouldn't touch the line, but I know for sure they'll win. That's a game I won't bet, but
That's a lot of points. Next game. This is a spicy game.
yeah.
I think it's a war. Georgia's not known as a tournament team, but they have a great win this year.
Got athletes.
They beat Florida. So to
Yeah.
me, if you can beat Florida, you can beat anybody in the nation. Gonzaga's kind of had an underwhelming year, but they're playing better now. They kind of correlate to Michigan, to probably a lesser version. Michigan did, I think, have a better season considering competition, but Gonzaga, they're a team that you got to be ready to play against them. They have a lot of tournament experience. Where's this game at, Fern?
This game is in Wichita.
So it's truly kind of a neutral, maybe a little bit leaning Georgia.
A little bit. Zag fans travel well.
Yeah. I'm going to take Georgia. I don't.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same
fair
theory.
pick.
I like the 5.5. 100% Gonzaga could win, but I could see him winning by 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that I'm getting points on this.
Yeah.
It's a down year for the Zags. I hate to see that.
It is.
They were due. I mean, you can't be great every year.
Is this the worst Gonzaga team in how long would you say?
I don't know, maybe 10 years.
What about last year's team?
Last year's team wasn't too bad. Last year's team was solid.
Okay.
I mean, I would say last year's team was better, but yeah, I mean, I had a big expectation, especially after that Baylor win. I thought we were going to be like a top 5 team easily, but
That game, I just like that. That's a spread I think is going to be closer to like 2 or 3 points by the tip. Because if Gonzaga was plus 5.5, I might take it.
yeah,
It just seems like that seems like it's going to be a tight game to me.
I saw it open
totally
at
wrong.
7 this morning when and then later
So it's
throughout the
already
day I
been
saw
bet
it go
down.
down to 5.5. If I was betting, I would have taken Georgia plus 7.
See, 7 is that's a
That's
good
big.
line.
Oh, man,
I would
that
drop
would've-
tremendously.
You'll never see that again.
5.5 I don't like as much. Knowing it
No.
was 7.5.
I think the Zags are going to win this game just because they have the better coach. They do have veteran guards. They have a veteran center as well. So I'm going to go with the experience. I mean, Nemhard's been
He's an
leading-
athletic center too, so he
DK?
shouldn't.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be terrified of Georgia's athleticism.
No, and he's big. We got big dudes as well. We got like 3 big men that are solid. Even the 4th guy isn't terrible defensively. So I'm gonna go with the experience here and the Zags. It wouldn't even shock me. I mean, if I'm Houston, I wouldn't want to see Gonzaga in the round of 32.
That stuff matters. Like Gonzaga, even when they're down, they play anybody anywhere in the non-conference. They're not going to be they schedule Baylor.
Yeah, they're
Like,
not scared to play.
they'll play
They
these
played
teams.
Kentucky. They played
Exactly.
Michigan State almost.
And
every year.
sometimes they win. They'll
Then
lose.
they don't,
Sometimes,
yeah, but they-
they're competitive, which is why I think like a team like St. Mary's struggles
They don't
because they never get
schedule
outside
it.
of their bubble. They always want to play in the Gorman Gales arena. It's like a high school arena. They're tough in there. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but they're not playing at Kentucky. They're not playing North
the Zags will
Carolina.
Zags
They're not
played
playing Michigan
UConn
State
in New
on
York
a
City.
naval army base
Yeah.
/ air carrier.
I'm
you
going
know.
to take the Zags on this game, though. I truly believe in them. I mean, it wouldn't shock
You're taking
me.
Gonzaga?
Yeah,
I'm shocked.
not with
I'm just joking, bro.
not with the points. But I'm just saying to win the game.
I wouldn't be shocked yet.
Yeah.
I am going to take the 5.5. If I wait too long though and it's like 3.5, I may lay off the game.
Yeah, it's going to go either way. It wouldn't shock me if Georgia beat them, but I'm going to go with the experience here with the Zags.
All right, another good game. Clemson, who's one of the few teams to beat Duke and beat him impressively, I thought. Clemson is minus 7.5 against McNeese. I don't know a ton about McNeese. Fernando, you were kind of high on him. I'm going to take Clemson. I'll probably lay the 7.5 too.
I like the Clemson. I think Clemson has some good wins this year. McNeese, I need to see something. I don't see it.
McNeese has athletes. They got a lot of good players. But I'm going to go with Clemson as well, just like a proven team, like I said.
So that's another 3-0 for us there.
Yeah, I don't know about with the points, but I think they'll win this game. I don't know if
7.5 is a lot.
I don't know if I'll
That is a
bet this
lot.
game, but I do think Clemson is going to win.
Next game here. Purdue versus High Point. This is an interesting game. I think Purdue will win, but I say that not
confident.
Not confident. Very cautiously. I'm gonna bet High Point. I'm taking the 7.5, and it wouldn't shock me at all if they won the game.
Yeah, I think it's a bad line. Purdue's gonna win, but I don't know why we're just
not a historically great tournament team.
No.
And when I've got to watch Purdue closely this year, Braden Smith, I don't know. I will say they're going to be against High Point. Maybe he goes off. He could go off, I guess. They don't have a big, though, Purdue. They don't have a great big.
No, not like Edie or
what do you
anything
think,
like
Fred?
that. I'm taking...
You're a big High Point guy.
I'm a big High Point guy.
Yeah.
I've seen a few of their games. They got great athletes. There was one game I was watching. They threw 3 lobs and from half court back to back to back possessions. I'm going to take High Point. They got a deadly shooter, a white guy. I can't remember his name. Lethal. I like their guards. I like their bigs. I'm big on High Point, and especially if this becomes a fast-paced type of game, High Point's just going to run them out the gym. I think not a lot of people know who they are. I think after whatever they play Thursday, Friday, the world will know who High Point is. That's my one of my locks for this weekend. For my
that's your probably your biggest upset
for the bracket. Yeah, I think High Point is
to this
win.
point so far. Well, let's actually just do the next game and then we'll recap it. Next game it's Illinois versus the winner of Texas Xavier. I'm going Xavier.
Yeah, I'm going Xavier.
They can shoot the ball well. They're well coached. The guy who coaches them is the former Arizona coach who got caught sending a wire of $100,000 to Aiden. It always comes full circle. Sean Miller.
Yep.
He's a good coach. I think he's better than the Texas.
He sweats.
I think he's better than the Texas. He's always sweating. He's working for that paycheck over there on the sideline.
And he's always doing something shady.
Yeah.
He's sweating.
I think he's better than the Texas coach. And I think he's better than the Illinois coach. I'm going Xavier.
I hate that I'm going the opposite on this.
And we don't have a line on that because
we don't
have a game yet.
I do like Texas in the Xavier game. It's just the battle of 2 coaches that I don't ever want to trust. And then when they play Illinois, I actually have Illinois in front of both of them. So I have Illinois advancing. What about you, friend?
Nice. So between Texas and Xavier, I have Xavier.
They're the Musketeers?
Yeah, I think so. The Xavier Musketeers.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah.
So then if it's Xavier, Illinois, I have Xavier winning. And if it's Texas, Illinois, I got Illinois winning. But on my personal bracket, I got Xavier beating Illinois. And then, yeah, that's pretty much what I got.
UCLA, Utah State.
Oh, Kentucky, though, right?
Yeah, Kentucky and Troy.
Oh, sorry, I passed. Okay.
Yeah.
Kentucky and Troy. Kentucky.
I just don't think Troy can hang with Kentucky.
Yeah, I think
they're
it's
just
just
going to
a different
outscore them.
Level of talent, athletic ability.
Yeah.
We're all going Kentucky.
I think it's
right?
like 86 points a game compared to like 70. I think just Kentucky's going to run them out the gym.
They're 10.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I would take that.
That's actually kind of low.
So we're all on Kentucky. That's
Yeah.
that's another three for us.
3 Musketeers.
Okay. Yeah.
Literally.
Now UCLA,
Now we
Utah
know.
State. I think this is a great game potentially. This game, I'm gonna take the points because Cronin doesn't play in anything other than a 2-point possession game in the tournament, and I think it'll be that type of game because I don't think Utah State has the talent to just blow UCLA away. I think UCLA will be able to hang around, and I think Utah State's gonna cover.
What's the spread?
5.5.
Okay, that's
Plus
a
5.5.
good line.
Would it shock me if UCLA won by a basket? I think UCLA's going to win. I think Utah State's going to cover.
Yeah, UCLA will just coast on their talent, but they're going to be in a sweat enough where you're just going to be like, are they really going to blow this? And then they'll find a way to win.
Yeah, the same as you guys. I'm gonna go with the Bruins. I just don't see how Utah State wins this game.
All right, the last game of the Midwest bracket is Tennessee and Wofford. I don't know a ton about Wofford. Tennessee,
They're not that good.
Yeah, Tennessee is really coming on as of late. I mean, they even gave Florida a pretty decent game for a while in the SEC championship game final. So I got Tennessee big in this game. That's my pick.
I really like Tennessee, and I think
the line's 18.5.
I'll take that.
I was gonna say I think that's actually going to be one of the biggest wins of the whole tournament. I think Tennessee could win by like 30 or 40.
And
I agree.
Rick Barnes is kind of a choker as a coach. But I just think
Not
this
yet.
is going to take them.
I like their
They're
guard,
gonna-
their point guard.
Yeah.
I think I think if Tennessee's going to make a run, this is a year. Woodford's biggest win streak all year has been 3 games. They won their conference tournament. That's why they're in there. But I think Tennessee's going to blow them out.
So that pretty much sums up we went game by game. I do want to ask everybody, what is if you have one upset, and don't give out the money line, but the point spread. What's your guys' biggest upset for the first rounds of the games? And then that'll be the end of the show.
Yeah. What do you like?
I like a High Point. I think High Point's going to. You said with the points or money?
Yeah,
line?
like what's the point spread on that game?
I think it's 7.5.
7.5,
I think it's easy. I think they're going to win straight up. If you're talking money line, I'll take them. If you're talking points, I might take Bryant with the points.
You think 18.5?
I think 18 and a
Okay.
half. Or even Montana.
What's
one
your
of those.
upset pick, Bill? And then what you like with the points?
What we like with the points was a lot of the ones we kind of talked about, where it's like
Give me a game though.
the team that like Akron just covering. Shoot, they could probably win the game outright.
Yeah.
That's the one that really keeps coming back to me because I could just feel an Arizona choke.
Yeah, that's my upset. I'll just give it to.
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal it from you.
I'm picking Akron though.
Yeah,
I think they're going to win.
And the problem is, like I said, I didn't pick Akron to win, but I
Yeah.
do think they're going to cover. So that's mine for
That's your
that.
cover? Yeah.
Yeah, that's my cover. And then my upset one. It's not a crazy upset, but I just think Vanderbilt's going to beat St. Mary's. It's a 7-10. It's nothing
a 3.5
crazy.
point line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think they're.
That's your dog.
Yeah, that's my dog.
All right. Well, we're going to do another show this Friday, so we'll actually do. We'll have some
Do you guys want
updates.
to give out Final Four? All right, guys. So before we end the show, we're just going to...
your winner.
Yeah, we would like to give out our Final
Grab
Four,
butchers.
just so people get, you can't say, oh, they didn't have them in there. I personally have Auburn versus Florida, and I have Florida beating Auburn. Then I have Duke and Tennessee, and I have Duke beating Tennessee. So I got Florida and Duke in the national championship, and I got Florida beating Duke 88-75.
Nice. I got Auburn, St. John's, Duke, and Houston in the Final Four. I got St. John's beating Auburn. I got Duke beating Houston. And in the championship, I'm sorry, guys, it's not going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be a blowout. St. John's 73-55 over the Dukies.
Nice.
Okay, my Final Four is obviously Michigan, Florida, Tennessee, and Alabama. So I have 3 teams from the SEC making the Final Four. I have Michigan beating Florida, and I have Bama beating Tennessee, and I have Michigan beating Alabama 80-72.
Nice.
So that'll wrap up our preview.
Oh, we might have Josiah's.
Oh yeah, Josiah's. He's out sick today. He did
Yeah.
get us set up. Shout out to Josiah.
Josiah.
His Final Four is Auburn, Duke, Purdue, and Florida. It looks like he has Auburn winning 82-77
Against Duke?
against Duke.
Gotcha.
Very cool.
There we go.
Awesome, guys. Well, that concludes this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Fernando.
Billy.
I'm John.
Stay tuned Friday for the next episode. See you guys then.